Hey everybody, so it's been a little while since I recorded the last video, about a month ago. I want to continue the series for sure. I'll probably do a longer video today, try to push through adding to our prospects and whatnot here. So and I got a little bit of time coming up here that I can dedicate to this, so I'm happy to do that. So this is what we have on the go right now. We have the login capabilities, the ability to create a prospect, add an image, things like that. What I don't like about this, and this is kind of a housekeeping thing right now, is I'm not actually a fan of displaying data for prospects, pardon me, in a table. Maybe like something like an invoice information or some activity information goes well in a table, but in this case, I'd actually like to give it its own card. So there's a couple things I'm going to do here. I'm going to get rid of, first of all, get rid of the table. And then I'm going to get rid of, hold on, the horizontal rule, and then we're actually going to put in a nice little prospect card in here and line up our images so the images look good and everything. Okay, so we'll go to our editor here. This is the index page under Views, Admin, Prospects, Index. And we'll do a couple of things in here. Like one, we'll get rid of the horizontal rule. We'll move any of our flashed session data that comes back successful. We'll put that up here. Make sure you add margin top 3 to that as well to give us some decent little bit of spacing in there. Card up here, if this isn't here, which it won't be for yours, just have to find basically the tag that corresponds to card-body. And then we'll put that down below here. Okay. Now what we're left with is the table itself. So what we need to do, just like we check, so in order to add an individual card, we're going to break it out into its own little component and include it on a card-by-card basis down the way. So you'll see what that looks like. Maybe you have an idea what I'm talking about already. If not, it'll probably take us about 10 or 15 minutes to put that together. So we'll do here first. So let's create an if statement and make sure that the prospects that we passed are greater than 0. So you just put in prospects count, that'll work. And then what we're going to do is we have to do a for each, and we'll say for each prospects as prospect, we need to include a file that we haven't created yet, and that's going to be in the admin folder under prospects. And I'm going to create a partials folder, and we'll call this particular file prospect-card. Now down here, I'm going to create a new file. We'll say partials / it's going to create a directory and a file for us. And we'll say prospect-card. Oops. Oopsie. Okay, rename .blades.php. Okay, great. Now, now that we have that in place, let's go ahead and we'll pass along this particular prospect to the component that we're going to create. So let's start. It's going to be a card that we'll put it in. We'll make sure we have margin top of 3. We'll say .card-body. We'll add another little class in here as well, which will be prospect-card. And then we'll do a little bit of Sass and format some of the stuff in there. So we're going to create a row in here. If it's a small, sorry, not MD small, column dash SM-3. So this is going to end up taking up about a quarter of that card. This is where we're actually going to put our image. So first of all, we need to check, is there an image for this one? If there is an image for this one, then we'll say prospect-profile_image. Definitely use Tinker if you want to reference any of this. Okay. If you're using, Linux or probably on a Mac as well, you'll have to type out app models prospect and then put first in there, just kind of like you see up here, right? This works as well to pull that up. Okay, but in Windows, it resolves directly to there. I'm not 100% sure why, if that's just a composer thing or what the deal is, but anyways. So prospect profile image. So if it's not null, then what we want to do is we want to display it. So we'll say image, and we'll bring in the source, which will be, we need to use our storage sod in there, URL, and then we can dash underscore image. Okay. One thing you want to make sure you do is just make sure that the storage is actually linked. So PHP artisan storage link. I've already done this. So it says the links have been created, but otherwise you'll show 2 lines with some green text in there stating that it's been linked in there for us. Okay. So we have that there. Now what we want to do is let's just so we'll set it up so that it actually the image grows to be too large, so I can show you how to modify that with some CSS. So we'll say column SM-6, so this is going to be 6 wide. We'll put an H5 in there, and then this is where we'll have the prospect name in there. We'll create an unordered list. Say li within a strong tag, and then we'll say email. And let's go and say email. Okay. So li strong, and then we'll say, what else do we want to put in there? Probably date added. And then we'll say underscore created. If you remember in the last video, we actually created a method for that. So the magic method is what we used. But yeah, pretty created. So whenever you use this this method available to us, get pretty created attribute, it's basically this, all lowercase, and then a space between the words themselves based upon the camel case. Hope that makes sense. We don't need this to take up too many lines for us, so let's go ahead and do that. And then in this one here, we'll do column dash SM dash 3, that's going to give us our 12, and then I want to put in a drop down menu. Oops, I don't know why it's not populating for me. Maybe it's the blade thing for me. Anyways, I'm going to go over to Bootstrap and I'm going to pull out the drop down button option, or actually we could even pull that from over here in our index page. We'll say drop down. We'll just copy that over. Okay. And then in here we'll just, we can put our actions. So for example, we might want to say edit as an option. And we'll say prospects edit. This will throw an error the first time because we need to add that particular route to this here. One other thing I want to do is just make the button small. Make sure that also too that it is going to be, I think this works just to do d-block, but we'll see. Okay, let's go back to our prospects page. We'll refresh, see what errors we come up with. And you can see here our first one, as I mentioned, admin prospects edit. So let's go ahead and create that in the route file. So we'll go to route / web prospects. And then right here, we'll create route dash get. We're going to add the prospect's name, first of all. Prospect. Sorry, their ID. And then we'll put edit on here. And then within here, within the prospects controller, I can't remember if I created this as a resource controller when I generated it through Artisan or not, but if it's not, we'll add the edit in here, and then we'll say name will be edit on here. So that's great. Let's see here. What do we need to pass through? We need to pass one other thing through here, and that's going to be I think I can pass through the whole prospect, but it just needs to be prospect ID in here. So let's see what happens now. Perfect. Okay, so that's in there. Now we don't have the image in here because we didn't actually upload one, so we'll create an editing form and then we'll upload an image for ourselves in here. If I do this, we are brought to a blank page, which we expect. So that's fine. Otherwise, we have a much better looking card in here. And then as you know, we have more, it'll stack down here. We'll create some links as well. Let's add the links actually right now to the index page. And we'll do that above prospects. We'll do that here. Prospects dash. So I think, so it might not actually show up unless we have more than one page worth of links in there. Okay, so we'll leave that as is for now. Let's go to our prospects controller. In here, we have store, show, edit, update. So in this case, we're just going to return, well, first of all, actually, we need to, okay, class is already imported, so that's great. Prospect is the name of that. So we'll return a view here, and the view is going to be admin.prospects.edit.play.php. We can go compact and put prospect in there, or we could create a little array. We're going to pass through the array instead of using the method that generates one for us. So that's great. Okay, now we need to actually create that file under our views folder. So let's go resources, views, prospects. We'll create the file, which will be edit.play.php. Now what do we need to do in here? We need to extend our current one. So I do believe it's going to be admin.layouts.app. Let's double check that. No, it's not. It's going to be admin.app. Manage prospects. Yeah, okay, so it's layouts.app, not admin.layouts.app. So we'll get rid of that. We'll go B section. And we'll say content in there. And we'll say .card.empty-3. Body, we're going to create a, we'll say d-flex .ml-auto, so margin left auto, and then in here we could put a drop down to give us access to other items. So I just pasted what I had here for this particular drop down on here. So you can do the same thing, take that from your index side. So we might want to go to like we might want to say view dashboard, which will bring us back to prospects dashboard. Or we might want to say, you know, view. We'll add this in next, basically. admin dot prospects dot show in this case. All right. So we'll say view prospect. Okay. And this one's going to be a little bit longer maybe, I think, because we'll want to add some shipping information, not shipping information. Sorry, I've been building a lot of e-commerce sites as of late. So not shipping, but we want to put their address, details like that about the client, and then maybe create the ability to add notes, stuff like that. Definitely create the ability to add notes, things like that. So, okay. All right, so let's make sure that this is in our prospects table for show, under show. Okay, we don't have show in there right now. That's okay. Route, we'll say get prospect. And then that will be prospects. Name is going to be show. One other little thing I'm going to add in here is it's going to say where prospect is equal 0 through 9 plus. Now, basically, if this is a word that comes through, it's not a number because we're going by IDs for prospects, then it's not going to pull in this. So this is going to help you to avoid conflicts when you're actually creating your routes that have the same verb, like the get verb, the post, put, patch, whatever else. If you have like say for example, I did this and I put create after I put prospect and didn't specify that this was supposed to be an integer coming through, then it's going to try and show the prospect as opposed to bring you to the form creation page. So that's why you'll want to put like 0 through 9 plus, just like you see up here. We could even do that here under prospect over here. Actually, I'm going to do this. Put that before name. Good. Okay. So that's perfect, the way that works there. Okay, so now we have the show method, so we're not going to or the name for the route, so we're not going to throw any errors when we actually go to view the editing capabilities of our form. In here, I'll probably do like an H1, and I'll say edit prospect, and small.text-muted is the class that I'll use in here, and we'll just put the prospect's name for now. Some things I like to do too, particularly in development, is I might actually put the ID as well. For now, we'll just go with that particular user's name. So let's go ahead and see if this works for us. We'll say actions edit, admin prospect show. Okay, so it's saying we're missing this. So admin prospect show. Oh, you know why? We're missing a route parameter. There you go. One other thing we got to put up here is the container class, so it does not look so ugly. Perfect. Okay, we're good. We're good in there. So let's bring in our first form. I'm kind of working backwards here, I suppose. Maybe we could say, so this might be like where we update their name and email and profile image. And then this might be where, and then down below we might do like update or add their address and contact details. Okay, for these particular prospects. Okay, so let's do that first. So we'll create a card class again, margin top of 3, dot card in there, and what else can we add to that? We'll say I'll do an H5 maybe. We'll see how big that looks within there. Okay, so we'll say edit personal details. We'll put a little HR under there just so it looks a little bit separated, which is nice. Let's go to our create form. And we can bring this in as well, showing any errors on our form. So that will show within the card, up above personal details. Actually, you know what? I don't like the way that typically looks. So let's do this. We'll put it up above the form elements. Name, email, profile, image. Form action. Then we need to change the method. So it's going to be an update one. And then in here we need to do B method, and this could be put or patch, but if you use put, then you have to make sure that that is a put route in there. Profile image. You know what? We'll do something a little bit different here, I think. We have the main edit prospect title. Let's do a .row, and we'll put column dash. What should we do? SM -4. -8. Okay. Now you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment, but on the left-hand side, what I want to do is I want to placeholder for image and option to change out just the image in here. Okay, perfect. Let's do, what can we do? Okay, so this is going to be a card class. Again, empty-3. And then we'll say card-body. And then I want to put in an image. So, well, I want to put in an image if an image exists. So if dash profile image, then I want to do storage URL underscore image in there. Actually, I have to put that within an image tag. That would be helpful, right? We'll take that out, cut that out there, and we'll put that in there. Okay. And then down below the image, we'll want to do things like maybe we'll put in a horizontal rule. We'll see how that looks all said and done. But we might want to put in like, what would be an example? We'd do like a button dash outline dash primary. We'll make that a small button, but we'll make it take up the whole width. And then we'll say, upload new profile image. And then we'll set it up so this actually displays a modal for us to make all of that work. And then below that, we'll do another one, and we'll make this, we'll put this under danger, and then we'll just say i.fas.fa-trash, and then we'll say delete profile image. Okay, let's see how things look. Okay, so we have an issue here. Okay, so again, we got to add our route, admin prospects update. So I set that up as a put method, right? And then we want to go prospect in here, and then we'll say we really shouldn't have conflicts in here with that, but we'll leave that as is. Okay, and then we need to add go back to the editing page here, and we need to, under form, we need to add the prospect. Okay, great. Now we have no profile image in here. One thing I want to do here, and I also want to do on the other one, is find a nice little kind of placeholder profile image. So I'll find an image, and I'll be back, and then we'll put that information in. Okay, so we'll create a little placeholder image in there. I've gone ahead and I've downloaded one. The company I use, or the resource I use, which is great because it only costs like $10 a month, is flaticon.com. So they do have free icons in there. You just have to make sure that you attribute the author if you're not using the paid service. I have a premium account on mine, so yeah, basically it comes with that caveat. You have to put an attribution to them. Otherwise, they could come after you, I suppose. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, actually, hold on just a second. Yeah, okay. So where I stored that particular file was here under public, images, and then user.png. So you'll have to find that in your folder structure and place that in there. But basically our image is going to look like this. So it's a nice simple image, very small in size, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and if for editing this out, if there is no image in there, then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to, let's see here, we'll create an else statement in here. And we'll do image, and then the source is going to be under images in the images folder. So we start from the public folder, and then we go images, and we'll say user.png. I'm going to add an inline style here, max-width for now, and we'll just say 100%. So it'll never take up more than it's supposed to within its container there. So let's see if that worked for us. And that did work for us. So now we have a placeholder image in there for us. Off to the right hand side under edit personal details, you can see there's some things we have to fix up in here. So let's go ahead and do that. We just need to basically add card-body, and then that'll create all of our padding and things like that. Great. Let's go down here to where it says update prospect. Okay, perfect. We're also going to add some values in here because they'll be pre-populated values from the database, right? Okay, and then up here we'll just change this over to name. Okay, great. So that shows up. That shows up. Now down below, what we'll have to do is we'll have to put in like the shipping information. not shipping, sorry. Like I said, I'm stuck on e-commerce right now. So what we'll have to do is put in their additional details, like their address, things like that. So what we'll actually to make that happen, I mean, we could do this one of two ways in terms of flow. We could very easily create them and then bring them over to the edit page to add the additional details for contact. We could also notify them here, like missing contact information. We could put a little badge beside that, if that's the case. Yeah, so those are definitely things we can do. In here, what else? What else should we move on to here for this particular one? We could hook up the ability to update, or we could create our other form below that we then model for the actual user. Let's do this. Instead of, once we actually go in to create a prospect, after we create the prospect, we'll bring them to the page to add their contact details instead of bringing them back to the index page or to the show page. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll hijack the prospects controller again for that one. And up above store, we'll do, not store, sorry. Up above create, we'll go public function and we'll say create contact. Okay. And then in here, we'll put in the prospect ID as a route parameter. And then we'll return view admin prospects contact. Perfect. Okay, let's go over to prospects. No, let's not go over to prospects, not yet. Let's go over to you know what, actually? I want to keep this clean, a little bit cleaner. So I'll create some additional methods in here, or some additional routes in here. So one, we'll say get, we'll put our prospect, and then we'll say contact, create. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So we'll say prospect contacts controller, and we'll say create. So this just ensures that we're not we're keeping to a very, in each controller we're really not adding more than 6 or 7 different methods. We're just using the CRUD methodology. So create, read, update, delete. It keeps things nice and clean, nice and organized. And if you have anybody else working on the project and they're wondering how things are laid out, they'll see that there's a pattern, there's a flow, right? Okay, so name, say edit, show, update. So this one would be, so this one's admin prospects contact dot create. Okay, then we pass through prospect in there. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's create the controller. Prospects. So admin prospects, and then we'll say prospect contacts controller. Okay, we'll go ahead, we'll import that up here so it looks like this, right? And then we'll actually go to that definition. We'll say public function create. So we're not going to end up needing all of them in here. Make sure we bring that in. Like all the methods that we have in the other controller. Return view admin dot prospects dot contacts dot create, and then we'll pass through that particular prospect. Okay. Admin prospects contacts create. So now we need to go to resources, views, admin, prospects, and then we need to add some in there. So the new file is going to be contacts create.blade.php. So contacts / create.blade.php. Perfect. Okay, so we'll go bextends in here. That's going to be layouts.app. And bsection is going to be content. And we'll put our container in there. And we'll put our card.mt-3. And then we'll say .card-body. And then we'll say .d-flex. And then we'll do .ml-auto. And then in here we need to add our dropdown. So let's go back to our index in here. Okay, we'll copy that over. For now, we'll get rid of this under create prospect. And we might do things like, view prospect. We'll come in here, we'll add some of that other stuff in after. Create, then we need to do with an H1, we'll say create contact details, small.text-muted, we'll say prospect-name in there. Okay. So actions, no, don't need that file. We need prospects here, contact create. Now let's go back to our prospects controller. And first things first, after, we'll get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. After store, we're going to go to admin prospects contacts create, and then we need to pass in our, I think I can actually just go prospect-id. I don't actually have to pass it through as an array because I think it checks to see, I haven't looked at the method that handles that, but I think what it does is it checks to see if it came through as an array. If it didn't, then it creates the array, because sometimes, we can pass through multiple parameters, right, in there. Okay, so let's go ahead. What we'll do is we'll take a step back. We'll go ahead, we'll add a file in here. Let me find a file first of all. I'm just on my other screen. I'm gonna find a file. Okay, so in here I have just a simple PNG that I'm going to upload. It's not a picture of anybody in particular, it's just an icon, so you put whatever you want in there. Go ahead, we'll create the, okay, so, and that makes sense. So admin prospects contacts create is not defined. Okay, well we'll go back to our we'll go back to our routes file there. Yeah, okay. We'll let refresh. We're going to send the same through the same data through all. Okay, so there we go. Okay, let's try this again. So we'll say Tyson testing, and we'll say Tyson.test@tyson.com. we'll go ahead, we'll upload the following file, man, create the prospect, possible typo. Is it a typo? Shouldn't be. Admin prospects contacts create. Well, okay. Let's see where the error is actually coming from. Okay, so undefined variable prospect. Create. Okay, so let's go over to our create file. This is the one right here. Prospect-name. Let's go to the route. All right, so prospect, we'll go to this definition in here, prospect. Okay, I can't send that through as a variable. That's what that has to look like. Okay, let's give this a go again. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that pulled in correctly. So create contact details. So let's go ahead and we'll start building out the form for us to be able to do that for the contact details. So we'll create it as a new card. I'm going to go and let's add another card in here. -3 -body. And then we'll create a form in here. And the form is, we'll send through the route, which is going to be prospects.contacts.store. Method needs to be post, and we are going to have to pass through the prospect ID as a route parameter. We have to add our CSRF token. Oops. And now we can actually start creating our form. So we're going to say, we'll do .form-group. And do this one of two ways, I suppose. I do like to create some of this stuff in line, so we'll say label dot dash m. I think that'll look good. And then what should we start out with? So some of the stuff that we need to build are going to be the we need to do their, so we have their name, we have their email address. We probably want to do like a phone number. What else do we want to do in there? We'll say phone, phone 2. What else should we do? So we got phone 2. We could put a fax in there. I mean, if it is for a business, people still do use fax. We can say address 2. What else? We'll say city. Might say province/state. We might say postal/zip code. What's something else we might want to add in there? So there's country. What else? What else would typically go in somebody's contact information? And then maybe we'll just add like a notes field. Notes about the contact, things like that. So, oh, you know what? We could also say unit in there as well. Okay. Here we'll add our input. We'll put a, oops. Well, that doesn't work. Put the name, and this one here we'll call phone. All right. You know, let's add another thing in here. We'll say, we'll put mobile. Okay, so what else do we need to add in there? So we got that done. We want to add fax, address to unit. Okay. Fax. Okay, unit. Then we need to do city, province, postal code. There might be some UI. There might be some UI tweaks we can make in here as well. So then we need to do country. If you caught that spelling mistake, it's nice to see that one of us is paying attention. Country, and then what we need to do is form-group.row. We're going to put in a text area. Nope. MD-3, and then that needs to be additional notes. 9 text area dot form dash control, and then this one's going to be notes. Don't need an ID on this one. And then we'll say button.btn dash. Right. And then we'll say now, I think if we refresh this, we're going to throw an error. Yeah, because we haven't defined this. So admin prospects contact store, that's the other thing we need to define. So let's go ahead, we'll say route. So this one's going to be a post route. Prospect. Don't need to do anything beyond that. Store is the method we're going to access. There we go. Where prospect. I do like to be as specific as possible with some things. This is one of them because I scratched my head over some of those errors in the past and been like, where is this coming from? So it's better to just be explicit. I find it's better to just be explicit in all this. Okay. What do we have here? Create contact details. Okay, so we got a big form. Looks like we got some mistakes I made here, so I'll get rid of the unit number. We have a double unit number in there. Okay. Now, let's go to this particular controller. And we'll say store. We're going to say, for now, we'll just pass it through as a request. And then we'll make sure everything's submitting nicely in here. So, oh, okay. So we can already see there's little issues that are cropping up here. So I have mobile phone twice. I don't know why. Is there any other issues you guys can see? I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page. Unit number is once, so that's good. Address, fax, phone, mobile. I mean, typically people in a business situation don't have really more than 2 numbers. So do we need secondary in there? Maybe we could just say phone and phone mobile. Let's say phone primary and phone, so we'll get rid of the phone secondary on that one. Okay, we'll refresh this. So all right. It's my dog in the background. Sorry about that. These are some additional notes. Sorry about the barking in the background, guys. It's hilarious because he's less than 5 pounds, but he has the attitude of a much bigger dog. Okay, perfect. Okay, so everything's passing through here. We'll verify it. So phone, mobile, fax, address to, unit, city, province, postal code, country, and notes. So let's go back here. I don't remember if the last time we did this, if we created a migration for contacts, and we didn't. So that's good. That's fine. Let's go ahead and create that now. So we'll have to create a model and a migration. So we'll do that in one fell swoop. So a PHP artisan make model, and we'll say prospect contact. Okay, so let's go to the model first. No, no. Okay. I made a mistake with my spelling. We'll go up. Let's find our model again. We'll delete that. We'll delete this. Let's give that a go one more time, but this time, let's start by spelling it correctly. Okay, prospect contact. Okay, good. Okay. Prospect contact. Okay. What else do we need to do? So we'll open up the migration in here. And first thing we're going to need to do is we'll add an unsigned integer. And this is going to correspond with the prospect ID, which we have to have in every single case. And then it's just a bunch of strings that we need to add in there. So let's go ahead back. So we need to do phone, mobile, fax. I'm going to create all of these basically as nullable because, you know, we might only have one piece of information to put for a prospect. I know, having been in sales, sometimes you're just going off the email and then, you know, like the city, the province, the maybe you know the address of the office, but you don't have other details, a spattering of each. So we're going to be very loose with the data that can go in here. So phone, mobile, fax, address 2. So fax. Address 2. City. Province. Postal code. Country. And this needs to be text in here because we want to be able to, you know, leave room for more than 100 or 200 and some odd characters, whatever that is. All right. What else do we need to do in here? Okay. So phone, mobile, fax, address 2, city, province, postal code, country, notes, timestamps. Okay. Let's go ahead and migrate this. Okay. And now let's go to prospect no, not this one. We need to go to prospect contacts controller. And we're going to actually create a special request. So it'll be store prospect contacts request. So let's go ahead and create that. So I changed the name a little bit in there. We'll just say store contact request. We'll bring that in. So you see that up there. I think I went over the plugins that I used last time. Not a big deal. Okay. Now, let's go to store contact request as a definition in here. There's some things I want to make sure of, like this -user is admin. They have to be an admin in order to deal with this. Or, what do we want to say? Yeah, for now we'll say admin. We probably will break out individual user permissions, things like that. So we will have to come back at some point, I suppose. what do we want to say? Okay, that's fine. We'll leave that as is. So let's go back here. We'll say phone, mobile, fax. So phone. Again, everything is going to be nullable. But we're not going to accept data that we're not expecting, right? So phone, mobile. So fax address to city. And then notes. Okay. So that is what we will accept into there. Now, what we're going to have to do is we'll go contact equals we could do an update. We could do an update or create method because we'd only have one contact for the person. Or we could leave it open so that we could create multiple contacts for the same person. I don't know what scenario that would really work in, but for now, we'll leave this as such. So we'll have to put in the prospect ID. We'll add to that the request as validated data. So prospect ID needs to be prospect ID in there. So that should work. So now we can go return, redirect. We'll say route, which is going to be admin.prospects.show. -ID with success. The message will be successfully created a new prospect. Okay. Before we continue, I'm going to go back to the prospects here. I don't know if I've actually added a show method. I have. Okay, that's good. Let's go to that controller, prospects controller. We'll show. We know we've already brought that one in. And then we'll just return prospect. And we'll make sure that the contact details are also in there as well. So we'll say contact. Let's go to our prospect model. And we'll create a relationship in here. So we'll say return this dash belongs to app models class. I don't actually know if I need to add these because I think Laravel does that automatically. I just do it by rote, kind of a habit I got into is just specifying. But you know, I mean, we could actually, let's test that out. Let's see if this works for us, because we did label in the prospect contact prospect underscore ID, and then the name of this model is prospect. So it should resolve to that automatically. I don't like to take too many things for granted, but okay. So let's double check. So let's review here for a second. The prospect's created, so we've already created the prospect. Now it's being passed along to that particular prospect that was created, and we're being brought to the contact page to store their contact information. I don't want them to be able to actually create a new contact. So from here, like, okay, so what's going through my thought process here is, let's say somebody tries to hijack the flow of things. So normally the only way to add the contact initially is from the form that we've just created, is after they've created the prospect. I don't want them to be able to go there, hit contact again, add another contact for it, and then really throw things off. So what I'm going to do when we actually go to store it is I am going to use that update or create method. Okay, so we'll say update or create. So they could go in, they could use that form to update it. That's fine. But this will just prevent them. You know, they can go to their heart's content and they can continue to update it as much as they want, whatever. But they cannot create additional contacts for that prospect. I think that's the best way to go. That was my initial thought, and I didn't see any kind of a reason to not do it that way. So hopefully that makes sense. So the way the update or create method works is I do believe it finds the first record, and then it updates if the record exists where this has a prospect ID, the same prospect ID, then it's just going to find that and then update the validated values in there. Otherwise, it's going to create a brand new one with the prospect ID. I hope that makes sense. This is a nice little tool. You probably saw this actually when we created our initial database seeder for the users. Okay, made that little modification given the information that we know now. So let's go back to the prospects controller, load contact, prospect to review. We've created a relationship in here for contact, belongs to prospect contact. We'll see if that resolves correctly. I do believe it does. I just, like I said, wrote of habit to do it differently, but that's fine. Okay, so we'll refresh this information, pass it along. Is admin. User is admin. Okay, well, let's find out. User. We don't have an admin on there? I don't know. Let's see what the user model looks like. Okay. For now, let's pass through store contact request. We'll just say this dash user. So if it returns the currently logged in user, then go ahead. If it doesn't return a logged in user, it's basically saying, you know, if they're authenticated, send them through. So we'll refresh this. Okay, great. But we're not loading the contact information in there. So let's go back out to prospects controller, contact. Let's go to prospect. Okay, well, let's see if a prospect contact was actually added. It was. Prospect ID of 3. There we go. Okay. So the other way to do this instead of belongs to, because technically prospect contact belongs to the prospect, we should be able to just do has one. Now you'll see, okay, now you'll see it's the reverse. I hope that makes sense. It should be fairly straightforward, but now we have that again. So we could do it the other way technically, but it would be better to do it this way, has one, because this doesn't belong to anything, right? I'm going to get rid of this and just see if it resolves for us nonetheless. And it does. Perfect. Laravel is smart. So we don't actually have to have anything in there. Belongs to wouldn't retrieve anything either. So I hope that makes sense for these relationship methods. Sometimes it confuses me, especially if I'm doing like one, has one through many or has many through many. One through many. Then that often I'm getting confused because there's like 6 parameters that have to be put in there, or at the minimum 2. And then if you've done it correctly, Laravel resolves. I don't always do it correctly, but that's fine. I just try to design my tables a little bit, maybe with more relationship information, as opposed to finding ones through others, so I don't actually have to query, additional tables. Okay, so that makes sense. So we could create a show page from now on, from here on out, which might be a good idea. Let's go and create a page to show. I'm going to make things so we don't need the store contact request anymore. We know the contact creation form works. Our migration has been ran, so we're fine there. Might want to keep index open. Don't need the user one. Edit, we're going to get back to that one. The one thing I did want to change in here though is profile card, or we wanted to do @else, and then PNG. Okay, we'll see if that one works for us when we actually go back there. So let's go check out our prospects dashboard again. Okay, great. So see, we have a little issue in there. We want to add style equals max dash width 100%. Oops, I still don't like how big that is. Could add a max dash height in there, and we could make max dash height maybe 50 pixels. This is probably something we'd actually want to code in with CSS. Got 150 pixels and see how that looks. Nope, don't like it. Okay, so it looks good on this view. Maybe what we'll do in here is MD-2. Okay, that looks a lot better now, I think, personally. Let's go and let's create some, I know we're jumping around a little bit in here. Let's go back to our edit page now that we can add the additional details form in there. And then we'll go back, we'll make additional tweaks to the prospect card, but we'll do that with the with our actual SAS files and Webpack to make that work. We'll get rid of this one so we're not tempted. I'm not tempted to do anything else in there. So this one here, there should be the end card. And we'll just say prospect details. .mt-3 dash body. What else do we want in here? So we'll say H5. We'll say contact. How do we have it here? Edit contact details. HR. Okay, good. Now let's go ahead and let's get our form for this. Oh, we can actually clean this up. Awesome. Love cleaning stuff up. Okay. Yeah, we want to save that file for sure. Edit in here. Okay, perfect. Now, there's some other things we could do in here as well. Like, we're on the editing page, but we could create a partials file in here. And we'll say edit contact form.php. Personally, I prefer to do things this way, because then this file doesn't actually end up being that large. We'll go b include admin dot prospects dot contacts dot partials dot edit dash form, and we'll have to send through the prospect object. Okay. Edit contact form. One thing that we might want to do here as well is if maybe somebody created it, they backed out of that page for the contact form. We don't want to show this information if it doesn't exist under contact. So what we should do is, let me see here. We'll say bf dash contact. So basically, if the contact exists, then we want to show this form. A lot of cutting and pasting here, I know. Okay. Else, we probably just want to display like I'm going to say like a button. How do we want to do that actually? So what we could do is just send them off to that create the contact form. So we'll say dot button dot btn dash primary All right, and then we need to go route admin dot prospects dot contacts dot create dash ID. So we'll have to test this out with one as well, but let's say we'll go, all right, create contact details. So we can handle this here. You know what, I don't, There's a lot of back and forth here, but this is just the way it goes. I don't want to overthink this, but I don't want to underthink this either. Like, probably because this is just the form for editing the contact details, I probably want to handle that logic here, right? So once I've got this refactored a little bit, I will just pause and explain everything else to you. Okay, let's go back to that other page. We'll cut that out. If prospect contact, so if there's a contact, then show that. Otherwise, show nothing. What's another thing we can do in here to simplify this form? I think that's good. This is just going to make our code a little cleaner on the inside of the form. But I might want to do like prospect ID. Okay. Now you'll see how this works. So in here we're going to have prospect underscore ID. And we're going to create an update method, which doesn't exist right now. Let's go ahead and add that. So route put prospect prospect okay. This will conflict right here. So post prospect contact. Okay, that makes sense to me. Let's edit form. Let's go back to our main page here. See what happens. Okay, great. So we don't have any errors. Now what we are going to have to do is add that information in here. Let's see what this looks like in mobile view. Okay. Well, if you don't know how I did that, I push F12. If you're on a laptop, you might have to push function F12. Otherwise, typically that puts you into airplane mode otherwise. See, when it comes down to here, this one should. So it should be, instead of small, it should be MD. Okay. Let's go back to the edit page here. Okay, let's see what that looks like now. That is still massively large. But I don't like how small this is compared to the screen at this width. I know at this point I'm kind of overthinking things a little bit. See, that looks good. That looks good. But then this breakpoint, not a fan of this breakpoint. Let's say at SM, we'll do 8, but then we'll say offset dash SM dash 2. No, sorry. No, that's not. Oh, it's because I have to reset this here. Okay. Okay. Tablet view would be what that is. Then this would be mobile view. Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm happy with that. We'll have to do something with this actions button, I think, for this in a smaller view, but for now, I'm going to leave that as the way it is. Okay, so we'll pull out of there. Awesome. Now let's go back to this page here under edit. Actually, we need to go edit contact form. So let's go update contact details. And we need to come in here and we need to add value equals contact dash phone. This is kind of the this is where things get a little bit monotonous, but that's okay. Phone, mobile, fax, address, to unit, city, okay, let's go Control F. You see there's a little spelling mistake in there. So I went Control F. I'm going to replace this with value for the 6 that I've already done. Really quick find and replace, right? Let's copy this again here. Province. Postal code. Country. Okay. Perfect. So let's see what is going to happen here. So it looks like unit didn't store last time. You know what? It looks like unit isn't even in the migration. Yeah, it's not. Okay. Okay, so this is actually an excellent opportunity for us to test out something else. Okay. So basically that rollback, what it's done is it's deleted the prospect contact table. We can run PHP artisan migrate again, and it's going to repopulate the table, but this time we'll actually have unit in there, which is what we were missing there from before. So that's good. We found one of our errors. Now we can take this opportunity here to test out if our form, fails to populate. That's what we want. And you can see, okay, edit contact details. Okay, there are no contact details, so we need to actually go create them, which brings us over to this page, which is great. So let's try. Okay, so if you remember what we did here is we brought you back to the show page. Unit is not storing in there. We passed it along as one of the parameters, but it's not storing. So let's go, let's find out first of all from the, we'll say store contact request. And another problem we're running into is it's not here. So like if this was actually in here and we could pass it along as an item, then because it wasn't in the database at the time either, MySQL would have thrown an error for us. So we don't, so that's why that didn't throw an error, because that's one thing that was going through my mind. I'm like, okay, well, if I tried to insert something into the database that didn't have a column for it, then why didn't it throw an error? So that did cross my mind, but at any rate, let's we can resubmit this again because it's basically an update or create method we've used. Okay, and now we have a unit in there, so it'll work the same either way, right? Okay, great. Now let's go to our edit page again, and now we have unit in there. So I'm happy about that. So our button works to create the contact. That'll send us off to that form. That's the quick and easy method for us to handle that, which is great. Just some additional notes. Sorry about my dog there. And then we got to go update contact details. So let's take care of the updating of the contact details first. So where have we sent that off? So edit contact form, admin prospects contacts update. So let's go to our routes file here. That goes to put because contacts update is what's in there, and we have to add that in here now. So public function update, we'll say update contact request. We'll say request. We always pass through the prospect ID because that's how we're going to basically, with the update or create method, handle that in there. So we'll say prospect dash contact dash update, and then we'll pass through the request, the validated data in there. Now, so this will be really, really easy for us. So we'll say return, redirect. Because we have more than one form on there, like technically we're going to have 4 forms if we include the hidden delete form. But we'll have a form for changing out the profile image. We'll have a form for the basic details of the name and email. And then we'll have a form for the updating the contact details. I want to send them back to where they were from. So we'll send them back to that edit page. So we'll say admin.prospects.edit, and then we'll say prospect-id in there. That's great. And we'll say with success. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create this request. Artisan make request. And how are we going to do that? Prospects, contacts, update. Let's go take a look at that actually. Okay, perfect. Update contact request. And then F12 to go into that. And again, for now, as long as this user is logged in, then we're good. Now, because we're passing through all the same stuff in here, we can pretty much just copy and paste that down the way. Okay, then that'll pass that through. Then prospect contacts controller under update, we're passing through all of the validated data. And then we're flashing success, which means we can go back to our success, our edit page in here. And we'll say, we should probably put that between. Do we want to put that between? Or do we want to put it above? Let's put it above. .alert dash success. No, sorry, we have to do if there's, I mean, really, I should be creating a special component for this. I'll see, I do typically create it in a lot of my other projects. Let's see if we have that here. No, we don't. We'll come back at some point and take care of that. So session success is going to flash that message to us. Okay. Now, one way we can find out if it's actually working correctly is if I just click update contact details as is without doing anything here, as long as we see the data back in all of these input fields again, then we know it was successful. And we should still get a message up top here. Did I do something wrong? Let's go prospect contacts controller. Update. Let's make sure. Okay, let's refresh let's go back and refresh this page. Okay, let's try this one more time. Why? Does that keep bringing me to the store contact page? I don't understand that. Okay. Admin process update. Okay, admin process. Oh, you know why? Huh. I'm still sending it to the post method. I need to send it to the put. Okay, now we'll refresh. Update contact details. Great. Successfully updated prospect contact details. That's good. We're happy about that now. And we can verify all the data's in here. If you did want to change out a few things, you could do that. We'll just add a 3 onto everything. And we can see all that data is retained in there as it should be. Good. Okay, so the update edit contact details works. Edit personal details, we'll do that next. So we can close this out. We can go back up to edit here. It's a small form, so I'm just going to leave it in here as is. Let's just pass this through as ID, post, that'll be a put method, admin prospects update. Let's go to our prospects in here. Maybe we created the route already. I think we did. Yeah, we did. Okay, so let's go to this controller. Okay. Oh, some prospect. Okay, good. Now I am going to create a update prospect request because this is like how I do a lot of my the permissions for being able to update. This is how I secure that through that authorize method within the request. It also gives me access or the ability as well to create additional properties on the incoming request if I wanted to. It's kind of an edge case, like probably something I do 5% of the time. So, but let's go ahead and we'll say prospect update, and then we'll say validated. We know that's what that's going to be. And we'll say return. The other method we could use here is back. And we could say with success again. We're going to say successfully updated prospect details. That's great. Yeah. Okay. Let's see how this all goes down. So update prospect. Okay. So let's create our update prospect request. That's going to be under prospects. Let's go in here again. If it returns an authorized user, that's what we want. And then in here, this is really simple. This is going to be an email. We know these fields are required. And we know that email also has to be unique. We might have to create some additional rules for that in our controller to handle them so that they are unique if we do in fact update the email. Let's see what happens in here. So email and then name, prospects controller, request validated, everything's brought in as it should there. So let's see what errors we end up throwing. So we don't actually end up throwing any errors, but let's see what other prospects we have with their emails. So we got 3 in here. Let's try to do email at tyson.com. So that should not be happening because okay, that should not be happening. We should not be allowing that to happen anyways. Let's go to unique on the prospects table. The email has already been taken. All right, so another way we can deal with this is over here under rules, we'll add a comma, and then we have to add that we're going to specify that we're actually dealing with the email field, and then we're going to take the prospect. Now we've binded the prospect to the request already from the route model binding. That's why we put prospect the class by the actual variable name. So now that gives us access to the prospect that we're dealing with. So in this case, we want it to be unique. So we can change. It won't update the email. It won't return that same error to us if we're passing through who that email basically belongs to as is. So let's go ahead and we'll refresh this. Let's try this again. Okay, great. Successfully updated prospect details. So that's exactly what we wanted to see in there. Okay, and that's good. And then in here, maybe like we could do test at tyson.com. This one should throw an error. Bear with me. Oh, email. Let's try email at tyson.com. Okay, great. So that works as it should. So we could say test at tyson.com, and that should work for us. And then update as many times as possible. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's great. So now we have all this stuff out of the way. The last thing we're going to take care of in here is deleting the profile image or adding a new profile image. So right now, I do believe this is our default profile image, right? Let's verify this on this end. Yeah, that should be our default profile image. So let's go ahead, we'll edit this, and we'll give us the ability to add a different new profile image in there instead. So let's close out the update prospect request. Prospects controller, we are going to need this because we want to update the profile image. So let's add the method here to actually handle that right now. So we'll say update profile image request, and then prospect, assign prospect, and we're going to go, we'll say path equals request dash image dash store, and let's just double check where we're storing those images from the storage method in here. So, okay. There's one little thing we need to take care of first though, And that is, we need to take care of like if prospect dash image, no, profile image. So if it exists, then we want to run storage. I do believe I've already brought that in. No, I haven't. Okay. Delete profile image. And then in here, so we have path. That's great. Now we can go prospect update. And we'll update it with the new path in there. We can go back. We can say with success, and we're going to say successfully updated profile image. And then, you know, visually you should see that it was updated, right? In there. This should work. Test it out, of course. So let's go back to our edit page. I want to add a modal in here. So this is already taken care of. Let's add a Bootstrap Model. Okay, I'm going to go over to the Bootstrap website, copy and paste their modal. Okay, let's add that in there. Okay. Let's add our route in here. So admin dot profile image. Prospect ID is all we need in there. Let's go to our routes. Okay, sorry, I'm not talking much here right now. We're going on 2 hours for this stream, so what I've done here is I've just updated the route that it's going to. So it'll be admin prospects update and then profile image. So name update.profile image. Update profile image is the method that we should be accessing there. We'll verify that that looks good. Update profile image, perfect. Let's see, what else do we need to do in here? So we are going to need to create a special request for that. Prospect profile image put. Let's make sure when we're actually looking at our editing form. Post, method put, CSRF, and type is multi-part form data because we are passing through an image. Probably the last thing we need to put in here is button.btn.primary.float-right. And then in here, we're going to put update profile image. Okay. Now, back to the prospects controller. Let's go ahead and make a request, prospects, and update profile image request. Update we'll bring that one in. We'll go F12 to bring us in there. And again, this dash user, so they have to be an authenticated user. They do need to have an image. This is going to be required, otherwise what's the point in using this one? Maximum, we want to have 2,000, 1,000, so 1 megabyte is going to be the maximum that they can put in there. Okay. That looks good to me. Now what we need to do here under edit is we need to call the modal. So we call the modal from this button here. So we add data toggle equals modal, and then data dash target is going to equal hashtag and then that, because it's an ID we're targeting, right? Okay, so let's go back to our page here, do this, and that brings that up there perfectly. What is going on with that though? It should be form dash. Oh, we need to put in file. Perfect. Choose an image. Yeah, choose this one in here. Prospect and edit upload.php. Okay. So now the reason this is throwing an error and it wasn't throwing it before is because there was no profile image on here before, so it wasn't trying to grab this, and it's just a simple spelling error, which is like 90% of the issues I have when I have them. Let's go back up here to the top. Great, so we have the edit prospect in there now, but you can see the image is way too large for that one. So let's copy and paste that in. Great. That's fantastic. That looks good. Now the last thing we need to do is delete the profile image. So we can do this a couple of ways. One, let's say be push. We're not going to get too JavaScript heavy here, I don't think. We'll see. As we add features, and maybe I'll use this as a project I just keep coming back to and making changes to, so you can see how we take something basic, build out kind of that minimum viable product, and then we go back and we enhance the user experience, things like that. For now, we'll say delete profile image. The profile image. Okay, great. So if R is true, then document dot query selector, and we're going to select the form with the ID of which form, and then we'll hit submit on that. Okay. Where do we want to add that form in? Well, we don't want it in a hidden place. We can add it in here because it is going to be hidden. So we'll say form hashtag delete dash form. And here we want to add the route for that. So we go admin.profile. No, sorry, not admin.profiles. Prospects dot dot profile dash image. And then in here we'll add our prospect dash ID. We also want the method to be a post method. Little thing we need to add in here though, we do need to add two values, our CSRF, and then we're going to send it through as a delete method. So prospects controller. No, let's come here first. No, I do believe this one's already, we do have this one already protected. Delete. Delete. Okay, that should work for us now. So we need to add that method in there, destroy profile image. Now, in this case, all we're going to do is we're going to delete the image, right? So we'll say if which we assume they would have one. Otherwise, we really shouldn't be showing that button as well either. But for now, let's do this. It's already imported. That's great. So we'll say delete. Profile image. Return. Okay, one other thing we need to do in here is under prospect, we do need to update that profile image field. And we need to make that equal to null. All right, perfect. Oh, just stretching. Okay, so prospect update profile image, that's going to be null. Successfully deleted profile image, and then we shouldn't see the profile image up there again. Let's do something else in here as well. In edit, let's set it up so that we only have this if the profile image actually exists. Otherwise, we have no need for it, right? And it's just kind of wasting resources. Okay. Okay, good. What's going on? Oh, okay. So this is one other thing I need to add in here. We need to do an on-click and delete profile image is the function we're trying to call there. Which is not defined. Delete profile image is definitely defined. Oh, you know what though? We might not have the stack for the footer scripts. So let's go back to layout/app. Yeah, we don't have that. So we need to add a place to put our footer scripts in. So we do that with bstack, and then normally that stuff I just put in there when I set up a template and whatnot. But perfect. Okay, that's exactly what we want to see. Cancel, nothing happens. If we click OK, submit of null. Okay, so we have one little issue here. Let's go back in here. Document.query selector. Okay, so that's misspelled on this one. Perfect. Okay, now you can see the image switch because, of course, if we don't have an image in there, then that is that. Now we have two things in here: view dashboard, view prospect. So all of this works. So which is great. The only other thing we might want to add is like a delete prospect option. I'm not going to do that right now. No, I am going to do that right now. What are we sitting at? Okay. Let's see if we can get that done in the next 10 minutes. 5 minutes maybe. We'll see. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Delete prospect. Let's confirm. Maybe we'll throw in a little warning in there. This can't be undone. Because it won't be. Okay, so if R is true, we want to say document.query selector form hashtag delete dash prospect dash form dot submit. It's not ideal. There's other things we might want to do in here, like as we build out further security, like maybe one of these prospects will belong to specific users, and only somebody who either owns the user or is, the system administrator can actually delete it or manage or things like that. I'm not going to get too complicated quite yet. Right now, we'll give every authenticated user the ability to delete a prospect in there. Let's go up to here. We'll create a drop-down divider. We'll say text-danger, and we'll add a trash icon in there. and we'll say delete prospect. Okay, let's check that out now. Delete prospect. But I guess I haven't added font awesome. That's fine. It's fine. We'll leave it out for now. We'll just say delete prospect. That's good. Drop down item, text danger, on click equals delete prospect. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so that one shows up then. Now let's create a form in here. We'll go style equals display none. The route on this one is going to be admin.prospects.delete or destroy. I can't remember what I put in there before, but the method is typically going to be destroy. Method is going to be post. And again, just like the one we did up above, we'll add our CSRF, and then we'll add a method of delete in here. And then we are going to have to add our prospect ID. Display none, method post, admin prospects delete. And then we need to add this one. So, okay, let's go down to the end, to the very end of the page. Delete prospect form delete, ... Okay, good. And then we're not displaying the form, so let's just double check all that. Okay, so that one's not, so we know we're displaying the form now. Because we're throwing an error because we actually haven't created that request, so, or that route. So let's create that just above this one. Okay, destroy. Okay, now let's go over to this particular method. We'll go all the way down to destroy. Now this, we can handle this a couple of different ways. For now, all we have is the image we have to delete. But maybe there's going to be other things that we have to delete in there as well. So, like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a method we can add to the model that ultimately goes through the process of deleting all of the assets for this particular prospect. And we have to decide, do we want to archive it? Maybe we just want to do a soft delete on the prospect, things like that. For now, we know that we're storing a profile image, so we should delete the profile image. So if prospect dash profile image, so if it's not null, then we want to go storage, delete, and we go not request, prospect dash underscore image. Okay. And then we go prospect delete. And then we return, no, we can't return back. We have to go to redirect And we should go to the route, which is going to be admin.prospects.dashboard in this case. With, you might flash a warning message too. I mean, ultimately, after you build out your MVP of whatever product you're doing, you'll probably want to go back to this and say, okay, let's hold on to that data, maybe put that data in a separate table, or create a queue for jobs to go back and actually delete that after X amount of days, thereby giving them the opportunity to restore it. So maybe we'll look at doing that a little bit later. That's typically the way I handle that after you build out the very basics of your application. So we'll say successfully deleted prospect and all assets related to them. There's other instances where you might not even want to delete them, but kind of leave them as a profile for being able to obtain their invoices, attachments, things like that. Or you might want to go and maybe on each, maybe if you're doing invoices, for example, you need that for your own records and potentially to send off to them even though they've canceled their account. You might want to kind of create some metadata in there just showing what the profile looked like at the time of deleting or at the time of the invoice creation or payment, etc., etc. So we can do things that way too. Okay, everything looks good. Don't look like I've misspelled anything. Let's see what happens here. First of all, let's go back out to the dashboard. Okay, so we got Tyson testing. So let's see if we can delete this one. Yes. Okay, good. So that's gone now. That's fantastic. So now we have a prospect system in here. The next thing we'll do, not in this video, but in the future video, is to create some dummy data. So we'll create a little factory to create the prospect, to create the prospect contact, and then we'll populate maybe our database with 50 prospects and see how this looks, and then with our, as well how it looks with our pagination figured in there and everything. So, all right, so I'm going to cap the video off there. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to get to them, and we will see you in the next video.